Hello MYP3, this is the first chapter of the first unit in MYP3 and it's called Mathematics in Nature, and the first topic is going to be called the Fibonacci sequence. Now I do have a neater version of these notes, but a bit difficult to write on my iPad like this as I'm doing, but this is called the Fibonacci sequence, so that's Fibonacci, Fibonacci sequence, and it's a number sequence named after a famous mathematician whose name was Mr. Fibonacci, or whatever the Italian equivalent of Mr. was hundreds of years ago. So we're going to write as neat notes. So this is my exercise book for MYP3, and I'm underlining things. I've got a neat margin down the side, so we're going to try and have a neat notebook here, and we're just going to write consider the following sequence. So it goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So pause the video for a minute and try and think what's happening there. Okay, so you shouldn't still be here. If you haven't paused the video, pause it now. And then when you think you've got something, unpause it. Okay, so what's happening there is you're taking each pair of numbers to get the next one. So 5 plus 8 is going to give me the next one 13. 8 plus 13 is going to give me the next one 21. And so on. So we will actually write each number is the sum of the previous two. We can put a, let's change color to red there, kind of put a thing there to show how two numbers are making the next one. Okay, so let's go back to blue, and this is called the Fibonacci sequence. Sequence, if you can't read my writing. This is called the Fibonacci sequence after the mathematician who first suggested it. There we go. So we're going to make a table of these numbers. Let's see if I can make any kind of a neat table in this software that I'm using. So I think I'll go for 3 squares there. I'll try and make that a little bit thicker, I think. I'll do. Now obviously this is a lot easier for you with your exercise books because you just get a ruler and draw a line, but a little bit trickier here. So just copy that and paste it, and so I'm trying to make a table. That's not good. There we go. And then I'll copy a few of those and paste them. Yeah, so I seem to be going off from the squares in my book here, so I'll have to tidy that up a bit later. Copy that and paste it. Room for a couple more. Copy and paste. Okay, so this table is going to have Fibonacci numbers. See if I can make my pen a little bit smaller there. Fibonacci numbers, and then it's going to have the ratio between successive Fibonacci numbers. So the Fibonacci numbers go 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13 and 21. You can go a bit further in your table. So then they go 34, 55, 89, 144, 233, 377, 610, 987. So we're going to divide pairs of these. So you can't divide the first one by anything because it's on its own. But then I'm going to do 1 divided by 1, which is 1. I'm going to do 2 divided by 1, which is 2. And then I'm going to do 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5. Why do I? 1.5, and then so on. So I would like you to, at this point, pause the video and then try and carry that table on, do more Fibonacci numbers, and then work out more ratios. And you should notice something. Okay, so pause the video now and then come back when you've got up to, well, let's say take the Fibonacci numbers up to at least 100, number 100. So they go 89, 144, and work out all of the ratios for those. Pause now. Okay, so hopefully you've paused the video and done that for a bit. And then what happens is they go 1.66 recurring, 1.667, 1.6, 1.615, 1.619, and then eventually they settle down to about 1.618. So we can write in our notes, we observe that the ratio between successive terms in the Fibonacci sequence seems to tend towards a particular, let's write that a little bit more legibly, particular value around 1.618. And that's actually called the golden ratio. So we'll put a heading the golden ratio and we'll write the number that we've been talking about, that successive ratios between terms of the Fibonacci sequence tends towards is around 1.618, but it can be shown to be exactly, so here's a weird number, let's change to red, square root of 5 plus 1, and then all of that divided by 2. So if you do that on the calculator, you will find you get around 1.618, and that number is called the golden ratio. So the thing about that, let's change color again. So as I said, this number is often referred to as the golden ratio. And if you're interested in the Danish for this, then you should be. Det gyldne snit. And you find that things divided up in proportions based on this ratio are found to be especially pleasing to the eye. So nice to look at, in other words. Also, many things in nature are found to be related to the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence. So make sure those notes are all in your book. Now we're going to start to do something called the Fibonacci snail shell. So I'm going to make that a heading. And I'm just going to go to something that I made before now and add it to the video. This is the Fibonacci snail shell. So it starts off with a little quarter circle, and the radius of that is 1. So you can kind of draw a 1 by 1 square and then put a quarter circle in it. Next to it, another 1 by 1 square, quarter circle, but in a slightly different place so that they curl around together. Next one is next to the previous 2. So 1 plus 1 makes 2. So you make a square that's 2 by 2 and you put a little quarter circle in it. The next one is next to the previous 2 again, but the previous 2 are now 1 plus 2, which makes 3, and then you put a little quarter circle in it. The next one goes along the side of everything that you've drawn so far. So the next one is 3 plus 2, which makes 5. So you've got a square with a side of 5, and you put a quarter circle in it next to it, and then so on. And you can see you're getting the Fibonacci sequence here, because you're going 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and then the next one is 8, because it's 3 plus 5. And then you can just make this bigger and bigger, and you get this snail shell thing. So I would like you in your books now to try and reproduce that super neatly. Make sure you're using a compass to draw the quarter circles, and don't just try and do it freehand, and then you should get something fairly nice. Before you do anything, you will need to plan it out on your paper a little bit, because it can be difficult to see where everything's going to go, and you might find yourself, if you don't plan it properly, with things going off the page and then big unused spaces. So plan it out first before you make it into a nice artistic thing.